Fantasy Football Semi-Pros Podcast.
Maybe we should get a plastic guitar now. Like from a carnival.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Semi-Pros Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Brandon, and with me is my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing today?
What's up? A little bit better. I only work like 9 hours a day.
That's definitely a plus. Hopefully it keeps going down for you.
Better than the 10 to 12 to 13 to 16 I've been doing.
Definitely. Well, today in store we have, we're going to go over a blind resume, so we'll see if Ryan can guess these players. We're going to go over some injury updates. And then we're going to go over our My Guys and late round flyers. So, Ryan, you ready for your blind resume?
Always.
All right, so I'll give you the position. These both are wide receivers.
Okay.
And these stats are since 2015. So, player A, they both played 93 games. Player A's had 6,330 receiving yards, 37 receiving touchdowns. Player B, 6,211 receiving yards, 38 touchdowns.
Am I guessing each one individually?
Yeah.
I'm going to say player B is Devontae Adams. Was he in the league in 2015?
I don't know.
Player A.
I will say one plays in the AFC, one plays in the NFC.
Oh.
They play in the same state right now.
So it's not Wisconsin. It's got to be Cali. Right?
No.
Cali? Oh, Texas. Oh, man. Could be Dallas or Houston. DeAndre Hopkins wasn't in the league in 2015.
I don't know for sure.
Well, he's in Arizona now, so it doesn't even matter.
Well,
Brandon Cooks has got to be one of them. I'm going to say player A. Player B, Amari Cooper.
You actually nailed that. I mean, it took a couple hints, but still.
I didn't know the state. I couldn't have guessed
Brandon
it.
Cooks had more receiving yards overall during that time frame. Cooper had one more touchdown. Their points per game, their points in total, it's about the same.
Really? Between Cooper and Cooks?
Yeah, and look where all Cook has been.
Yeah.
Started out in New Orleans, New England,
Houston.
Los Angeles. It might have been St. Louis temporarily.
Maybe, I don't think so.
And then Houston. Cooper, I mean, he's been with the Raiders and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But just look at the gap on the draft difference on these two right now.
What is it? I don't have that note.
I don't have it on here, but what I'm saying is Cooper went in the, fifth, I think it was?
Pretty high. Pretty high.
And Cooks is going anywhere late to undrafted.
Pretty sure I got him in, the 10th or 11th, maybe.
Yeah.
Insane.
Like I said, Brandon Cooks, he's an undervalued player. He's been his whole career, I think.
Well, I hope he has one of those really good seasons, though. Because I have him, though.
I just thought this would be interesting because it shows you, one guy's being drafted up high, one's being drafted down low. And
They're right there, neck and neck.
once again, this is one of my other reasons why I draft running backs early. Wide receivers are out there.
Yeah, and there's always going to be those guys that come up. I mean, every year there's some dude that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for every position. But there's just more wide receivers by volume than there are at the other positions.
All right, so now we'll move on to the injury. A few injury updates I thought were kind of relevant to put in here. The first one, Ryan, you want to go over?
Yeah, this is news to me. Sorry I was not able to look over this when this was updated. So, Dak's MRI is pretty good, going as the team expected. His ankle's healing pretty well.
Not his ankle. It's his shoulder.
Oh, shoot, my bad. I forgot.
Yourself there. Nice one.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm trying not to curse as often. The Marine blood in me.
You know,
yeah,
I have a little surprise for you when you do
the
cuss.
shoulder. But I didn't do it this time.
I know.
Anyway, yeah, so He went through his third throwing session before the preseason game against Arizona. He didn't run into any issues, and
Actually, from what I heard today, he did practice today.
Oh, he did practice today?
Yep. So that's definitely a good sign and puts him on path for week 1.
You know what? I hope he's good and healthy because I also got CeeDee Lamb, 5th round, 5.1.
Sniped me on that one.
Sniped you.
I had to settle for Cooper. All right, so next, another guy that a lot of people have been high on, more so in Dynasty, but he's been a late-round flyer for people, Rashad Bateman. I think it was a core muscle injury. I can't remember for sure. He recently had surgery.
That was a groin. Is that somebody else?
That might have been Malcolm Brown.
I don't know. I get so many updates every day. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, he had surgery. The timeline that I'm seeing with him, they doubt we'll see him in September. He might be ready to practice at the end of September, but we probably won't see him until October.
All right. Well, I'm glad I have zero stock or faith in that him or that wide receiving core.
Next one on our list, we got Denzel Mims. He's not probably relevant in redraft right now.
Hey, play that sound. Because I traded away a second rounder for Mims.
Well, good news is they're saying he is working really hard. Then he's not necessarily on that trading block. But he's not currently injured. But the reason he might have been so low, he recently lost 20 pounds due to a bad food poisoning. Apparently he had undercooked salmon.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
I don't know how you can undercook a salmon. Salmon. How do you say it?
Salmon.
Salmon? Then why don't they spell it S-A-M-O-N? Salmon.
There's a lot of words you can.
The English language is jacked up. Bunch of uneducated folks came over. We'll put these words and spell them like this.
I think a lot of it was they wanted to make us different than England.
Yeah, well.
And then we got Carson Wentz. Actually, him and his offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson, they're both saying are trending for week 1, which is good news for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to need it. If you have stock in Jonathan Taylor and you know Wentz is going to be hurt and Jacob Eason really hasn't done all that great, and they've had Sam Ehlinger taking first-team snaps.
They're apparently battling for the backup spot now.
Yeah, I don't see Eason being with the Colts for very much longer. I don't think Ehlinger's any better. I mean, he started out at Texas. Or he graduated from Texas, didn't he?
I think he's a rookie this year.
Yeah.
He was just drafted out of Texas.
There was somebody that was at Texas and then transferred to SMU and is in this draft class as well.
But, I mean, that's good news for Taylor. Honestly, I'd be willing to take a flyer on Pittman, a late-round flyer, if Wentz is back. And then possibly T.Y. Hilton, but he's someone that you can drop week 1 if he does nothing.
T.Y. Hilton had a few good seasons there, though.
He's had a few good seasons last year. He only really had two good games. If you're going to start Hilton, my only suggestion would be to do it against Houston, because he goes off against Houston.
Yeah, he likes those guys. He likes them boys.
All right, so that's our brief injury updates. Some that we thought were a little more relevant that we thought we'd go over. So next we're going to start on my guys. So our my guys are not necessarily who we think is going to be the best or who we think is who we want at the top of our ranks. These are guys that at their ADP that we're going to try to draft. We try to come out of the draft with these guys every time.
These are guys that if you take them around earlier than everybody else is taking them, you're not upset about, you're not mad about. You think that's fair?
Definitely. There's a lot of guys on here I would reach a round or two for.
Yeah, I would definitely pull some of my guys up a round or two before what they're typically being taken, but that's just because I've had a lot of success with them. So
we chose one person per position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. We didn't worry about kickers or defense because
Rodrigo Blankenship is the only kicker you need. And apparently Will Lutz is hurt.
Yep, Will Lutz got hurt.
I just noticed
he was the one that had core muscle surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Bateman was the groin. I could have been wrong.
It could be.
Yeah, I just looked at my dynasty roster today, and I was like, why am I all of a sudden...
Honestly, a sleeper kicker pick might be McPherson, the rookie kicker from the Bengals.
I think I just threw it sly.
He is lighting up that ball.
Yeah, we'll see. He kicked over the net there in Tampa.
No reason to talk about kickers. They're kind of fluky when it comes to fantasy football.
True.
really, when I get a kicker, I want a guy who's going to be just kicking a lot of extra points on a high-scoring offense.
Actually, I want a kicker who is on a struggling offense that can't punch the ball in from the red zone, so they kick a lot of field goals.
Potentially, yeah. They can't punch the ball in from the red zone, but they got to be getting to the red zone first.
Well, within the 40.
So we'll start with the QBs. Ryan, do you want to start with my guy at QB?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kyla Murray. And the weird thing is I had stock in him in multiple leagues last year, and I didn't reach for him this year as I took a different approach to my draft. But Kyla Murray single-handedly dominated our dynasty league last year.
He did for the first half of the season.
I'm gonna put all my weight on that. Kyla Murray, he's still young. This is gonna be his third season. I know Kingsbury says I don't want him to run that much. I don't want him to run that much. But you gotta look at the numbers.
Murray's saying it himself too. He doesn't want to run as much.
You don't have to run as often, but I mean, you look at the numbers when Murray has over 60 yards rushing in a game. The Cardinals are undefeated. They're like 8-0.
Yeah,
in his first 2 seasons, if he has 60 yards or more rushing, they're undefeated.
When he runs, I mean, that's when he's making his big points.
And, we all know how the scoring works in fantasy football. I mean, that touchdown pass might be 5 points, but that rushing touchdown 6. That's another point.
Most leagues, not ours. It's 4 points for a touchdown pass.
Really?
Yep.
Really? I mean, I love his run game. That defense there is a little bit better, so who knows if they're going to be throwing the ball as much as they have in the past.
But I think they've upgraded wide receiver this year with additions of A.J. Green
and Rondelle Moore. There's so many weapons in Arizona. I will say, shout out to Kyla Murray, if you ever see this video somehow. Last year, you won me $60 on a Hail Mary bomb to beat the Houston Texans as time expired. And you on a $20 bet that you guys would score over a certain amount of points and you'd have so many passing yards. Yeah, I won $60 off of a $20 bet. So thank you, Kyler. That's why you're my guy.
I will say, he ended up being the third best quarterback overall last year, and the way he ended the season, that speaks to how good the beginning of his season was.
Yeah, he was pretty.
He was the number 1 overall QB for the first 11 weeks.
Yeah, he's my guy. He's my guy at QB. If I can trade for him, I might sell.
He dropped off near the second half of the season due to injury. But in the 15 games that he played 98% of the snaps, he had over 800 yards rushing and 11 rushing touchdowns. Like we said, those rushing touchdowns are just a huge boost. A lot of people call those running quarterbacks the Konami cheat code.
Konami? Who's Konami?
It's from the old school games. Up, down, left, right.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. I can't remember
I didn't
exactly
know what that was called.
All right, so like we said, Ryan chose Kyla Murray. I chose a guy that's going later because I'm that big weight on quarterback guy. And the guy I chose, I've talked about him multiple times so far, Tannehill.
It's almost like you want to marry Tannehill.
It's just the last 2 years he's been QB9, and he's going as a QB2 in drafts. So I'm getting value on Tannehill.
Right.
And then this year, I usually only take one QB, but I took Lance with my last pick. If Lance starts, no telling how dangerous that could be, and I have an option at QB.
Fair, but we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but I just kind of want to throw that in there. Tannehill could be a good gap QB this year for me.
That's true. That's fair, yeah.
But we kind of talked about in his last 24 starts, he's had 61 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. You love that ratio right there alone.
Mm-hmm.
Pass rating of 110.9 and 22.3 points per game. There's not a big gap between the number 1 QB and the number 10. Patrick Mahomes has less touchdowns on more attempts, a worse passer rating, lower yards per attempts, but he does have just 0.6 more points per game.
You know what, though? I'm going to go ahead and say Tannehill has the weapons now with Julio Jones there to be a top 5.
That's the next thing I was going to go.
Yeah,
adding Julio Jones.
That's huge. That's like mammoth.
I'd rather have Julio Jones over Corey Davis. Corey Davis is younger and starting to break out.
But Julio Jones is Julio Jones.
Oh, yeah. It's going to make that offense that much better, I believe.
We're in agreement. we're definitely in agreement there.
All right, so we'll go running backs here. Ryan, you want to go ahead with yours?
Yeah, this seems like a no-brainer for a lot of people, but I chose this running back because he's typically not the 1.1. He's not the first running back taken off the board. And I made a bold move with the first overall pick in our redraft this year. I'm taking Alvin Kamara as my running back all day. And it was a toss-up because I love Derrick Henry just as much as Alvin Kamara. But the PPR league, you got to go with Kamara. I mean, wasn't he number 1 overall last year in fantasy football?
I think he ended up number 1 overall, yeah.
Both in PPR and standard, I think, if I remember correctly. You can double check me and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, yeah, I know Michael Thomas was hurt last year and there wasn't really a big number 2 receiving threat, but Kamara led the team in targets last year, especially in the red zone. He had 19 targets, which is just under a 20% target share. I mean, this dude, he eats the ball. I mean, and he just he kills defenses. He's a defensive killer.
Yeah, he also last year he led the team in rushing attempts and touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean the dude, he had what was it? Hold on, let me see this. Oh, we don't have the receiving touchdowns, but I thought I saw 11 earlier in the red zone. 11 receiving touchdowns. I could have been wrong. I may have read it somewhere, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he had 16 red zone touchdowns alone. And, I mean, he's just under 5 yards a carry at 4.9 yards.
Not only that, not just getting away from the red zone even, he led the team in targets last year with 111 targets.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that, but I didn't throw the number in there of targets. But, I mean, the dude is crazy. He's getting 5 yards per carry and almost 10 yards per reception. If you have that bonus point for combined rushing and receiving yards by a position player, Kamara's going to get you another 1 or maybe 2 points. We saw what he did to Green Bay. We saw what he did late in the season on Christmas Day. The dude, or was it New Year's?
Christmas.
Cleats. You guys did. This is my no-brainer. He's probably not going 1-1 in a lot of drafts like he did in mine. But he's my guy.
It's hard to make an argument against it.
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to, because personally at 1-1 I'd probably take McCaffrey, but you just can't make the argument against it.
No. I mean, even, McCaffrey's up there. I would even say Dalvin Cook or Nick Chubb. And there's an argument for a handful of running backs. I'd even say if you took Derrick Henry at 1-1, I wouldn't blame you there either. Cause
he's definitely been the most durable of running backs.
Yeah, year after year. I mean, he did it at Alabama for 4 years, and now he's doing it in the NFL. He's, sixth season? Fifth or sixth season?
I can't remember because I know he's behind DeMarco Murray for so much.
But Henry's. This isn't about Henry, but his off-season workout regimen is just insane. He'll be here for a while.
So Ryan took Kamara. I went with somebody a little bit later. It's going about a round or two later. Depends on. It's sometimes around that 2-3 turn. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Last year he was the 22nd best running back. He missed I think 3 or 4 games, and he plays in a couple more of those. You don't expect a running back to play in every game anymore.
No, especially with the season going to 18 weeks.
You make it. He missed 2 games. He's definitely in the running back too.
Yeah.
Since Mahomes has been the QB in Kansas City, CEH has had the highest target share of any running back that he's played with. We remember what Kareem Hunt did with Mahomes.
Yeah.
CEH is getting a better target share. And that was with Le'Veon Bell coming in last year and taking about half the snaps from him late season.
But was that last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, according to the Tampa coach, Le'Veon Bell's been retired for a few seasons.
Yeah, that's why he kind of confused us all. But it might have been down to some wear and tear because he was hurt for some of that time. CEH, he also received over half the red zone carries for the Chiefs last year. That team's in the red zone a lot, and there's so much that can go on with that offense. And we've seen what Andy Reid draws up for this team. It could open up a lot for Helaire.
I think the departure of Sammy Watkins this year, they're going to need to produce some more offense. So I think, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, look what Kareem Hunt did there in KC. Andy Reid's an offensive genius.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's a guru.
If you're a position coach on that offense, you're loving it. You're loving working for Andy Reid. This could be a big jump. This could be a big jump year for CEH to really stamp his name into the record book.
I don't see he might have running back one upside, one overall, but I don't foresee it. But I think he can be in the top 10 easily this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely.
I mean, he played a lot last year, and a lot of people were disappointed because of the hype that came with the offense he came to.
Yeah. I know you were high on him last year.
I was high, but I was still also kind of hesitant.
You also were a little bummed out when I drafted him this year.
Yeah, that's because he was my guy.
3-1.
I was hoping that he'd drop down to me at 3-6, which I had done quite a few mock drafts, and he had.
That's true.
But, I mean, I didn't get him. I'll live with my team.
I love those receiving backs, man. As much as I love Derrick Henry, I love my receiving backs in PPR leagues.
All right, so next we got wide receivers. So we'll start with Ryan's. I will say this guy we both had on our list, but I was nice enough to concede to Ryan to let him pick this guy.
I don't remember who my second guy was. So what we did was we both wrote down two names without looking at each other's notes, and then we consolidated them, and it was like, okay, if we had the same guy as our number one, it's like, okay, you can have him or whatever. So I went with T. Higgins. I mean, the dude put on he had a fantastic rookie year.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
He didn't break into it until a few games in.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I mean...
He led the team, or he had an 83.33 completion percentage in the red zone.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're a quarterback and if you're Joe Burrow and you're like, I'm going to throw it to this guy, there's basically a 9 out of 10 chance he's going to catch the ball no matter where I put it. Because not every reception T. Higgins had last year was on the money.
No,
he made
especially
some
when he had
adjustments.
Finley and Brandon Allen throwing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The guy he finds the ball and he owns it. He takes it. He doesn't care who's in his way. And then another stat that you want to include here is he caught 10 of 12 targets in the red zone. I mean, those aren't necessarily touchdowns. They're just targets inside the 20-yard line. So, I mean, it's still good. It
shows he's being targeted in that area, which is something you really want as a fantasy manager.
As seldom as the Bengals were in the red zone last year, that's a good look. And I know there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, but Jamar Chase this, Jamar Chase that.
I wanted to add into that. I was actually going to bring that up. There's 117 targets vacated between the loss of A.J. Green and John Ross. This definitely can feed all three wide receivers here.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, now you got Jamar Chase, and everybody's going to be concerned about him. I think T. Higgins, there's no way Higgins flies under the radar, but I think he waltzes in the back door, maybe. Doesn't get as much of attention as he did last year. I think these numbers are going to go up, and I don't know, man. I just think T. Higgins putting on muscle and focusing on running routes and getting better at route running, even though he's already good at it. And Chad Johnson saying, he's a better wide receiver than me.
Yeah,
he's better than I was.
Did you hear when T. Higgins was choosing the number, he went to Chad Ochocinco to make sure he could use 85. There's no one stopping him from using it for the right. I want approval from the man himself.
Right. And I think that's cool and all, but we all know Chad. Chad doesn't care. He's make it proud.
Yeah, that's all he said. He's like, make it proud. But I mean, I will say, for a while there, I was higher on Chase, but I've backed off a lot since. Even before the reports started coming out that he wasn't getting separation. I will say, I'm not worried about Chase either, because in his college game wasn't getting separation.
No, he's just a bully. He goes up, he posts up, like a big man in college basketball or the NBA. And
I'd rank these guys, Higgins, Chase, Boyd.
Yeah, Higgins is the clear number one there.
Yeah,
for me. And I think it should be for everybody else out there, too. If you're smart, if you're going to target a wide receiver from Cincinnati, I think you got to go Higgins.
I will say one thing you see a lot when rookie wide receivers and quarterbacks come into the league together, they have a bigger bond.
Yeah, look at
A.J. Green and Andy Dalton.
Right. Even as much as I hate the Red Rifle, the Red Rocket, or whatever you want to call them, they were pretty solid together. You're right.
Yeah, they get a connection, they grow together, and they rely on each other.
Tell us about your guy.
Yep.
Your wide receiver.
I went with my
like
second
choice on
this
one. Here.
I wanted to highlight Higgins more because he was my first choice as well.
Sorry, man.
It's fine.
I think you got a good one there.
Oh, I agree too. Jerry Judy's the guy I chose. Last season, he had a 20.63% target share. That might come down a little bit with Sutton coming back, but you're knocking off a different number 3 receiver at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Tim Patrick's going to be as involved as he was last year. Locke has definitely looked much better this preseason than he did last year. They're saying this is a lock that they drafted now.
Right.
And even if it's Bridgewater that wins this job, last year Bridgewater supported 3 top 25 receivers. So I'm not too worried about whichever quarterback takes this job.
Well, what do you always tell me? Play your studs, and Jerry Judy's a judge. he's a stud.
I do say that a lot to you. Start your studs.
Start your studs.
I mean, have you seen video of Judy running routes this year?
No, I have not.
They were having joint practices, I think, with the Rams.
Burning people?
He was just...
I mean,
he was making Jalen Ramsey look dumb.
Well, it was like... Man, could you imagine having Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith,
Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs
to throw to, all the same team.
Not including Najee Harris in the back.
Yeah, Najee Harris running in the back. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching him at Bama because they're always on prime time, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll watch this game. And I like Nick Saban. I think he's a good coach, but I digress. Judy's going to be a stud one day.
Oh, yeah. He had great route running in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
He suffered from some drops last year, but drops can be fluky. Amari Cooper had the same thing for a couple of years.
Yeah, that really made me angry.
That, and I will say, Locke wasn't the most accurate QB last year.
Or the year prior.
Well, Judy was only last year.
Well, I guess so. I'm just saying in general, Locke is... we know Locke's history.
Yep. But, like I said, I'm not worried about whichever QB wins this job. Talent rises. Cream rises.
I like that. Did you Google that?
No, it's a common saying.
I have never heard it.
Cream rises to the top.
I have never heard that. I heard early bird gets the worm, but I am certainly not eating worms. And I am not up early.
Yeah, you kind of remind me. You remember Dumb and Dumber? And he's like, "What's that saying?" And you're like, you just start listing a bunch of them off. No, that was basketball. That's
basketball. One day I'm gonna.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna write this one down.
One day I'm gonna be a big sports star.
So next we got tight ends. Ryan, you want to go with? We let Ryan choose 2 because one's more of a symbolic choice.
This is out of complete respect and just a common bond, I guess you could say. My guy, and he always has a spot on one of my rosters, doesn't matter how thin I am at any position group, is Derek Carrier. Last year, did you know he caught 100% of his passes? It's only like 3, but still, that's a... I want a guy that can catch the ball and not drop it. No, but in all seriousness, Carrier, good luck this year.
Except when you play the Bengals.
Yeah, don't...
You can have a good game, but just don't win.
Right. You can have the game of your career. Just don't beat us. I'm going to still go with Hayden Hurst here at tight end. Now, my thought process here is if you miss out on Kelsey or Kittle or Waller, Hawkinson, you're kind of just...
It's a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
you're just hoping somebody breaks out like a Logan Thomas or a Robert Tonyan last year.
You're just reaching, right? You're just reaching. But I like where Hayden Hurst is, and everybody's gonna say, "Oh, Kyle Pitts." But as you had mentioned to me the other day, just through an everyday discussion, Pitts is being lined up. Kyle Pitts, the rookie tight end drafted out of Florida, he's being lined up in the slot a lot, and Hurst is on the field with him. And, again, I'm going to go back to when Austin Hooper was the tight end. Him and Matt Ryan were on it all the time. And we know Atlanta just historically loves their tight ends.
Not only that, in the argument against Pitts, and I'm not even going to say it's a true argument, it takes rookie tight ends a few years to actually come into their own. The last one that came in and really produced his rookie year was Evan Ingram. And that was out of necessity. It's more when you're a wide receiver.
Yeah. Right.
which is going to be Pitts.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Pitts is he's an athlete. Pitts is an athlete. So you can line him up in that slot.
And
but I'm still saying.
To kind of go along with that, there's 138 vacated targets last year from Julio Jones leaving. So there's going to be enough for Hurst and Pitts to get their due.
Well, like we've discussed as well a little bit earlier, this new head coach, Arthur Smith, I mean, when he was at Tennessee, he ran 2 tight end sets the majority of the time. So I think we're going to see a lot of Hurst and a lot of Pitts on the field at the same time. Who's going to support Calvin Ridley as a target hog? I don't know.
Zacchaeus and Russell Gage are the 2 and 3 right now.
And who are
they've had some flashes, but they haven't done anything consistent.
We saw last year with Julio out. I mean, Calvin really just went through the roof. I mean, he was the only guy, and nobody could cover him, so that's great. But now let's get the ball around. Let's get more people some space. Get them the ball. I think Hurst is in a really good spot right here still, even with the high draft pick of Kyle Pitts.
I do think this year Hurst is going to he's going to be effective still. He can definitely produce some weeks, just like most of those back end tight ends.
And here's the thing: a lot of
next year I'd probably be avoiding him.
Yeah, but here's the thing: a lot of leagues have that tight end boost.
Not a lot, but it is a tight end premium.
Tight end premium, 1.5 points per reception.
They get an extra half a point.
So I mean, if you feel like it, throw them in see how it goes, and then throw them in one of your flex positions. I don't know.
Yep, that's only if they do a tight end premium on
Only.
I mean, I still have Hurst in one of my leagues. I traded a second-round pick for him in a dynasty league. I also still have Waller in that league, so I'm not relying on Hurst, but he's got a decent bye-week fill-in for me.
Absolutely. I mean, he didn't do terribly for me. He didn't win me any games, but he also didn't lose me.
But that's going to be most of those late-round tight ends.
Yeah.
Unless you get one of those top studs, you're probably going to be streaming or just kind of hoping for a big touchdown game.
Yeah. Or somebody comes out of nowhere and you can pick them off waivers.
So I kind of went with one of the middle guys. I went with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, he definitely has Lamar Jackson's trust. He was targeted the second most on the team last year. That's saying a lot for a tight end.
And with all those targets there, all those weapons there.
Well, yeah, now they have even more weapons. Last year they didn't have a lot receiving-wise.
Well, I feel like, was it Boykin
and Snead? It actually wasn't even Boykin. They had Willie Snead. I can't remember who else. But this year they added Sammy Watkins. They drafted Rashad Bateman.
What the heck's his name? Marquise Brown.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood.
Jinx. Brandon.
Sorry, we watched too much How I Met Your Mother.
There's a jinx roll if I call it.
He finally,
jinx him.
That might be the first time he's ever gotten me.
You're probably right. I think it is.
I wasn't going to do it because I was trying to just run the podcast, but
we got a little bit of time.
But last year, like I said, he led the team in targets with 90, and that was with missing 2 games, I think, due to COVID. He had a 22.9% target share, and he was the most targeted in the red zone with a 29.85% target share.
So third of the time that third of the snaps in Baltimore, when Baltimore had the ball in the red zone, they were going after Andrews.
Yeah.
Damn, I wish I would have known. Wish I would have known that when I was drafting.
I tried to tell you, Andrews is a good solid draft pick there.
Well, this is BS.
But I mean, you gotta love a tight end that gets targeted in the red zone. That's where a lot of the mid to late tight ends make their money, make their points.
Yeah, touchdown catches. I don't care if you have 16 touchdown catches a year. At least if it's one a game. Well, now 17.
Essentially, yeah, as long as it's one a game for a tight end, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's not going to lose you a week.
No.
So, Coon, do you want to run through my guys again?
Yeah, so my guys at QB, I had Kyla Murray. I don't know, maybe because I played...
We don't have to break it down again, but...
I was a mobile quarterback-ish because I had to be by necessity because he was my left tackle.
I wasn't the worst guy on that offense.
I think the mobile quarterbacks bring an exciting touch to the game. And I know you got your guys like Peyton Manning. They're exciting too. Alvin Kamara at running back. He's always going to be my guy. T. Higgins will be my wide receiver as long as I can get him. And then I would say Hayden Hurst at tight end.
Which I think I ended up getting Higgins in our in our keeper league.
Yeah, in our keeper
You took
league.
Lamb, I took Higgins.
Because you took Higgins first. Higgins wasn't there.
I would have taken Lamb before Higgins.
Oh, oops. Well,
All right, and my guys, I had Ryan Tannehill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerry Judy, and Mark Andrews.
I remember why I took CD over.
Because he's been
Higgins.
showing out.
Well, no, I just thought, the way Cowboys were going off last year before Dak got hurt, and Dak's coming back, and Dak's pretty healthy, and just fingers crossed. And all the reports we had been hearing is Joe Burrow's a little bit struggling a little bit.
That's actually starting to change.
Yeah.
He's starting to come back around.
I hope. Who day, baby? Who day?
But, I mean, I said it our first podcast. I want stock in this Cowboys offense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why I took CD over Higgins.
You're listening to me.
It wasn't intentional at all. I thought Higgins could drop to me in the fourth.
So next we got our late round picks, our late round flyers. These we're looking for people that are in the double digit rounds, round 10 or later. Mm-hmm. These are basically guys that you're not relying on to win your league, but
They're not.
You want the high. You guys. These are basically, I consider a lot of these guys the Ricky Bobby types. If you ain't first, you're last.
Right.
And these are the guys that could potentially give you that very high ceiling, but they have such a wide range of outcomes right now.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like my QB is pretty consistently high. He's not.
Yours is a little bit different in this case. So we'll go ahead and start. You want to go ahead and over your QB?
Yeah, I went with Matthew Stafford. I personally haven't had to rely on Stafford in any league, but he's always been kind of a bench player for me because nobody really plays Matthew Stafford. But you go through it week by week by week, and you're like, I can plug him in for a bye, and he's only, compared to Kyla Murray, he might be a 5 or 6 point differential, but he's consistently right there.
Like I said, he's QB 13. There's a minimal point difference between that QB 1 and QB 13.
Yeah, he's so serviceable, and even now, I think I picked him up, and it was super late. I think I got him.
I think you only have one quarterback on your team because you have Rodgers.
I thought I had another.
Nope, you have one.
Oh yeah, I went running back heavy. So that Stafford might still be out there. I don't know. But I do have him in a dynasty league.
I will say the one thing that scares me about Stafford, and he's tough. This is a tough SOB if you've ever seen one.
Yeah, he threw a touchdown pass with a dislocated
shoulder. He was out of the game. They called timeout. He's like, no, I'm going in. I'm winning this game.
His throwing shoulder was dislocated. It's the Rams.
But he's injury prone a little bit. At least lately. He's had back problems, thumb problems. He's already had an injury scare this season. But at the late round, he could be a decent filler if you wanted to go one of those rookie QBs late in the draft.
Right.
And last year, he averages 17.82 points per game. That was a little bit low. But look who he was throwing to. He didn't have his number one receiver for most of the year.
He had T.J. Hawkinson.
Hawkinson, Swift.
That's it.
Marvin Jones actually is underrated.
Yeah, he showed out. He shows out wherever he goes. Remember when he was in Cincy?
Yeah. So I usually don't draft a second quarterback. I've talked about this quite a bit. But this year, and I already referenced the guy that I chose Trey Lance. If you've been on Twitter at all, Trey Lance can do no wrong right now. But his mobility and his arm offers tremendous upside. Via The Athletic, an NFL defensive coordinator said, it would not surprise me if Lance is starting midway through the season. I think he's a little bit of Mahomes-type traits.
Sooner when Jimmy G gets hurt.
You're not rooting for injuries, but
I
do think that is a legitimate possibility with Garoppolo. He's been hurt every year.
Yeah, this is his third season with the 49ers, and he's only played one full season, I think.
And he did take him to the Super Bowl that 1 year.
Yeah, that 1 year.
This could be a wasted pick for me. He may not see the field as a starter. But he is my last pick of the draft.
Yeah, he took him round 15.
I'm throwing a flyer on somebody that could have quarterback one league-winning upside. Mm-hmm. You're always looking for that late-round quarterback that can show off. 2 years ago, I think it was Patrick Mahomes. Or no, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
2 years ago, it was Lamar Jackson. Last year's Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at possibly Trey Lance, Justin Fields, someone like that could take the role this year.
Yeah.
So this is one of the few times I've actually done that, and I know my guy's Ryan Tannehill, but I think Lance has a better upside if he does start.
And that's the dilemma with fantasy football. Do you play the guy that's been hot for a few weeks over your guy who might be off and on a couple weeks in a row? That's the hard part, man. Making that switch.
So next we went with running backs. Ryan's first pick, he actually wasn't being drafted in the double-digit rounds. So we gave him his second pick on this one.
I don't think I had Hines. What?
You had Gainwell.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah,
Memphis.
Yeah, my guy to keep an eye on here, just because the backfield in Philadelphia and the whole offense there is just kind of, it's a dumpster fire more or less. And I think Gainwell has great PPR upside.
They did just cut Kerryon Johnson, so that makes a little bit more space for him.
Yeah, I just think his athletic ability, his size kind of worries me a little bit. But you don't get to the NFL without being a pretty tough and pretty durable at the running back position.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying take Gainwell in the 12th round. I'm not saying don't even draft him at all. He's gonna be out there.
Waivers.
So if you're waiting and you want to see how weeks 1 and 2 go, I don't know how that offense is gonna operate, but especially dynasty, I think Gainwell's a good 3rd round pick here.
Yeah, there's definitely worse
draft
that you can have.
Yeah.
I don't think Miles Sanders is the answer there.
Mm-mm.
And Boston Scott, he's just
old. He's older.
I don't think he's old. I just don't think he's the answer either.
No, I mean, I don't think Gainwell's the answer either. I think this is going to be running back by committee, and then the best guy's going to play. And at this point, I just think he's got a lot of potential.
The positives to Gainwell, they are saying he's going to have he may have a similar role to Naheem Hines.
Okay.
Decent PPR back right there.
Right. I stated that at the beginning of this section was the PPR value. That's huge.
Per Dave Spadaro of the Eagles official site, he said he's had a lot of touches in camp, and as the coaches move him around the formation and take advantage of his receiving skills and open field ability.
So they might be lining him up in the slot.
Yeah, I mean, they're hurting at receiver.
Hey, get your targets, young man.
I mean, he's a guy to keep an eye on, see how he does. He could be a late round or waiver wire pick. Yeah,
14th, 15th round.
Mm-hmm. Or deep
at
deep
the
league.
highest, yeah.
Running back for me, I chose Gus Edwards. Late round running backs, they're all a dart throw.
Pretty much.
Gus Edwards is that guy, if Dobbins goes down, he's going to have a role. He's going to... Where is it? Yeah.
He's going to have a role. They just gave him $10 million for 2 years.
He just signed a 2-year, $10 million contract. His carries increased last year after they started phasing out Ingram. He averaged over 5 yards a carry last year.
It's pretty solid. I mean, if you're chasing around Lamar Jackson all damn day, yeah, you're going to get a little bit tired. Oh, yeah. All dang day. All the day.
We're trying to train him, guys.
Dang it. Pavlov's Law.
But
if I don't cuss, you got to give me a treat.
I did. It was Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
He might be Derrick Henry light, like a backup. He's similar to Derrick Henry where he's a downhill type runner.
Yeah,
he's not going to catch the ball much, which Lamar Jackson's not dumping it off the running back anyways.
No, he's just running.
And 5 yards a carry, that's
pretty
impressive.
Solid. I mean, it's hard to not give the guy a ball when he's doing that.
So I'm willing to take a shot at him late in my draft. Or if I have Dobbins, I'm definitely drafting this guy.
Right.
All right, so we'll move on to wide receivers. We got a couple more on this list. I wanted to go with the guy Ryan chose, but I knew he was going to choose him. And
really?
I liked Elijah Moore a little bit better, so we'll let you go over Rondelle Moore because we both really like Moore.
Well, and here's the thing. We've pumped up Rondelle Moore, and we could look like complete fools or complete geniuses or just like every other professional fantasy football whatever.
Analyst.
And say, oh man, we knew from day one this kid was going to be great. But
we both have called our shots in dynasty leagues. I drafted him in one. He drafted him in another.
I drafted up to take Moore with the number 9 overall pick.
Yeah, and that was a 1 QB. I took him with the first pick of the second round in the Super Flex League, which they're about the same spot.
Well, in that league, I took Moore at number 9. I unintentionally sold my team without even realizing. And next thing I knew, I was like, crap, I'm not in contention.
You've been saying that you needed to rebuild anyways.
It was a rebuild team. Okay, I took it over last year. Anyway, Cliff Kingsbury said this in an interview recently. Since day one, Rondelle Moore has acted like he's belonged here. That's good. You want to see that from a rookie. You want to see that confidence. But
his first preseason game in limited snaps, 3 receptions for 23 yards and 2 carries for 16 yards.
So what you need to understand is every touch of the ball he had went for over 7 yards. None of them. So it's not like, okay, so 3 catches for 23 yards. Okay, well that average is this. No. Every single touch of the ball was for over 7 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean that's pretty impressive.
I mean we saw it at Purdue.
Yeah,
he's explosive with the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
He can make just about anybody miss, and a lot of people are comparing him to Deebo Samuel, who has a similar type role with the 49ers.
Yeah.
Last year, this team was forcing those bubble screens to Larry Fitzgerald.
That's not a guy you want
Larry
to catch.
Fitzgerald's great, but at his age, those aren't the kind of plays he needs.
You got to get him downfield. But yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of upside of Rondelle Moore. I think I took him with number 12.
Something like that.
I just knew that if
at that point in the draft, if he didn't draft him, he wasn't coming back to him.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was 12-10 I got Rondelle Moore. And I knew, if it snaked back because I was the turn, I knew once he had 2 picks to go, Rondelle Moore wasn't going to get back to me. And I figured I'm going to take a shot.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of seeing a theme here. We have a lot of rookies on these late round picks. Rookies, they do take some time to start actually producing, especially wide receiver. I chose Elijah Moore. He's had glowing reviews out of camp. I mentioned it earlier. You like to see a rookie and a rookie wide receiver and QB grow together.
Mm-hmm.
That builds a bond that just it's hard to beat. And I think I've said this one before as well. A Jets beat writer said, I think the craziest thing about Elijah Moore is every day I come here saying I'm going to focus on someone else, then he makes that impossible. He has potential to be, I think, the top 10 to 20 wide receiver this year.
Okay, so wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, not just the flex.
Yeah, back end wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Yep. The Jets offense, they're probably going to be throwing a lot. Zach Wilson is getting a lot of praise out there. And he could be really good. That's going to be up in the air, but some people had him rated as the second best. Some people had him rated as the 4th best QB coming into this draft.
Well, it depends on what you're looking for.
Quarterbacks are some of the hardest to scout.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Leaf.
But, yeah, people argue with Leaf. Was he better than Manning? People argue that he should have been taken before Manning.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. So, I mean, just think about that. Would the scripts have been reversed if, Manning would have went to San Diego?
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, crazy, right? And then all those quarterbacks that the Browns have drafted in the last couple decades.
Yep. But I think Elijah Moore, he could be something special. Yeah, Corey Davis is there, but Moore, he may take over that number 1 role.
Mm-hmm. Quite possibly.
So our last position, we got some tight ends. Ryan, you want to start with your late round tight end?
I don't know why.
I know why you like him.
Doyle rules, okay? Jack Doyle, Indianapolis Colts. Okay, last year he was second amongst the tight ends in red zone targets in Indianapolis. The leader of those targets from the tight end position, at least, was Trey Burton, and he's not there anymore. And we know Carson Wentz loves tight ends. I mean, look at what he did in Philly with Goddard and Ertz. And he got Mo Alley Cox there with Doyle. But Doyle's one of those guys that you don't realize is doing so well until you take a look back on the week and just, if he's on your bench, you're like, gosh, he scored 12 points this
Way
week?
to catch yourself there.
Oh, man, he scored 15 points this week? What the heck am I doing? Why am I not playing this guy?
Yeah. He's one of those guys. He could be a tight end 1 on the week. He could be irrelevant.
Tight end dud of the week.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Mo Alley Cox is going to be the tight end for the draft in Indy if you're drafting one personally.
Okay.
But I like I said.
But this is my late round.
Yeah.
This isn't my tight end to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. If I'm taking a flyer on an Indy tight end, it's Mo Alley Cox.
Fair.
But as I said, Wentz has fed the ball to Ertz and Goddard for how many years now?
At least 5.
So it's up in the air. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just like Jack Doyle. Doyle rules.
So I chose, it's a more of an athletic tight end. He was a converted quarterback. He's finally starting to figure out the role, and we saw it last year. Logan Thomas. He just signed a 3-year extension with Washington, and he's probably playing with the best quarterback he has for his career now with Fitzpatrick. I know that's saying a lot.
Well, yeah, Dwayne Haskins.
Kyle Allen, Tyler Heineke,
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith is a very good quarterback. Very good NFL quarterback.
Unfortunately, his career was cut shorter than it needed to be.
He always caught tough breaks. Kaepernick taking over for him after an injury.
In San Fran.
Patrick Mahomes basically just outshining him.
Yep, Casey. And then
he broken leg.
Cracked his leg in half and gross.
A lot of people say that Comeback Player of the Year award, it should be named after Alex Smith now.
Yeah, that was disgusting. I saw the documentary on ESPN about that. Anyway, Logan Thomas.
But yeah, last year he had a 19.13% target share and a 24.68% target share in the red zone. In the red zone, a quarter of the targets are going to this monster.
Yeah, he's a big dude too.
I think he finished tight end 4 on the year last year. And not only that, last season, he led tight ends in routes ran, and was third in routes ran from the slot for tight ends.
Huh.
So not only is he staying in, he's getting out there like we talked about what Kyle Pitts is going to do.
Right. That's a good guy to have, especially late if you can get him. I think you took him, didn't you?
No, I took Kelsey in the second.
Well, I thought you took another one late.
Nope. If I draft one of the top 3, or even Andrews, where I go top 5 or 6, I'm not drafting another tight end.
That's fair.
Even if I take a late one, I'm probably not drafting one because I can get one off the waiver wire that I can just plug and play.
Right, you're right.
But I have Logan Thomas in a few dynasty leagues. He's somebody that I'm willing to run with as my number 1 tight end in those. So that's all we have for today. Once again, as we kind of go over every week, actually I did want to throw one more in here. We've got our first official show nickname. One of Ryan's favorite quarterbacks out there. Ryan, you want to tell him who that is?
What?
One of your favorite rookie quarterbacks out there?
Mac Jones!
We got a new nickname, and every time we mention it, we're going to try to play this drop.
Mac Jones! Mac 10!
He's wearing number 10, Mac Jones, and South Park's funny.
And there's a Call of Duty Warzone weapon called the Mac 10 SMG.
So I figured Mac 10 works for him. So every time we talk about Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Not bad.
I just wanted to bring that out just for fun. We're going to try to eventually grow more of our drops. We're going to have some more stuff in there.
Yeah, I'll find some stuff.
Well, we come up with nicknames for players all the time. We got one for Joey Burrow that we don't want to say on here because it's not the best.
If you take it out of context, you're fine. Joey Big Balls Burrow. Say it real fast so the kids can't hear.
We call him that just because he makes those big plays.
Big kahunas.
The big guts plays.
Big cojones.
But we'll try not to use that one on the podcast.
It's not family friendly.
But we're going to try to come up with more as this goes on. Maybe get some drops, or we'll just hear us reference them by their nicknames eventually.
Yeah.
So as always, Follow us on our social medias. Twitch, we're actually going to try to start streaming a little bit earlier on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
so
your
a
schedule.
little bit earlier now.
You got finally an adult work schedule.
We'll try to get about 6:30, somewhere around there.
6:30, 6:45-ish.
So look for us then. Fantasy Football Semi-Pros on Twitch. FF Semi-Pros on Twitter.
Come on, big guy. You got it.
I can't remember these off the top of my head anymore.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
So Twitch, we got Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. Twitter, FF Semi-Pros. YouTube, FF Semi-Pros. Instagram, Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. And our email, ffsemipros@gmail.com. And Facebook, Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. I think any one of those, we have a link to our link tree, which will take you to any one of those sites as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find that, you're golden. Like, share, follow, interact with us.
Or you can hit me up on the Book of Faces, the Facebook. You probably know me. I'm Ryan Coons. I'm pretty famous.
You can get them on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah,
Ryan
I'll
Coons
share the
on
link.
Facebook. rcoons15 on Instagram.
Yep, that's it.
I'm Brandon Barber on Facebook. Brutus Barber 89 on Twitter, and B Barber 73 on Instagram.
I don't tweet. I don't Twitter.
I don't really tweeter.
I'm not
I should get a tweeter. I just had an office flashback there with my shirt. No, I don't tweet much, but I do get on there and I like to follow the fantasy football news more so.
I'm just saying, if you want to ask us questions and you're
Feel
like,
free to
hey,
do so.
where's your YouTube link? I can't find it. I'll be more than happy to copy and paste it to you. Hey, and ask us your questions, guys. We want to make this more interactive as we go.
Mm-hmm.
We're only at about maybe 10 viewers on Facebook average.
Yeah, our first video, we had 60-something viewers. These last few, we've had about 10 to 20 on each.
Yeah, we're trying to make these time-friendly so they're not an hours long or over an hour long, so you're sitting there like, oh, these douchebags are going to shut up. I don't know if that's...
I will say, I think an hour long is not bad for us going one day a week, when a lot of fantasy football podcasts, they go every day for over an hour.
Yeah, we're going to try to work on an MP3 format, like a straight podcast format as well, see what we can.
Yep, I'm going to start researching that soon, too.
So you won't have to kill your battery on your phone.
But, once again, we appreciate any views we have, any interactions. Please like, share, subscribe, help us grow. Like I said, we want to grow not only what we have around us to make this more aesthetically pleasing, but we just want to eventually do this full time.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe dropping a podcast every day.
Every day.
5 days a week, I should say, not every day.
Yeah, I do need my weekends. I need to golf.
Golf, fantasy, or watch football.
I need to mow the grass.
Play with your dogs.
I need to take my dogs for walks.
Watch UFC fights.
UFC's important.
Definitely.
Violence.
Call of Duty.
Call of
Violence
Duty.
and money.
Warzone. Hey, if you play Warzone, let us know. We'll add you on the Xbox and or Activision. We'll play with you guys. I don't care.
He likes to yell a lot, so be.
I do scream a lot. Yes, that's true. I'm getting better though.
Or even Minecraft.
I play a lot of Minecraft. I do play a lot.
So we're welcome to interact with you guys just about any way we can.
Yeah, let's make this fun. Let's make it fun. Let's help it grow. To steal the old Nick Merckx quote, like the video. I love Nick Merckx. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all we got, right?
That's all we got. Be safe out there. Have a good day, night, weekend, whatever, whenever you're watching this. And
keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.